Good day, everyone. I am Rica May Cabrera, 18 years old, from Malasiki, Pangasinan, currently studying at PhilCST or Philippine College of Science and Technology, and I am your presenter for today. For today's lesson, we are about to tackle the problem solving and reasoning. The scope of this topic are definition of terms, inductive and deductive reasoning, and Polya's 4 steps in problem solving. First, what is reasoning? Reasoning is associated with thinking, cognition, and intellect. The field of logic studies ways in which humans reason formally through argument. Reasoning may be subdivided into forms of logical reasoning or forms associated with the strict sense, or deductive reasoning, inductive reasoning, abductive reasoning, and other modes of reasoning considered more informal, such as intuitive reasoning and verbal reasoning. What is inductive and deductive reasoning? Deductive and inductive reasoning are tools we use to make the theorems and proofs to the heavy lifting for us. To avoid confusing the two, remember that inductive reasoning starts with a few specifics and tries to create a general conclusion, which is not usually valid. Deductive reasoning starts with some general observations and deducts or wipes away every unnecessary destruction to leave a specific or valid action. So now let's look at a real-life example. All dolphins are mammals. All mammals have kidneys. Using deductive reasoning, you can conclude that all dolphins have kidneys. Remember, for this to work, both statements must be true. Okay, now that you have a good grasp on it, try a few examples. All numbers ending in 0 or 5 are divisible by 5. The number 35 ends with a 5, so it must be divisible by 5. Next example. It's dangerous to drive on icy streets. The streets are icy now, so it would be dangerous to drive on the streets. Well, inductive reasoning means coming to a very broad conclusion based on just a few observations. The flaw, of course, is that no one person can observe all cases of a particular issue. So inductive reasoning is right out of the gate. This term inductive reasoning refers to reasoning that takes specific information and makes a broader generalization that's considered probable while still remaining open to the fact that the conclusion may not be 100% guaranteed. There are types of inductive reasoning. First is the statistical induction, or it is similar to inductive generalization. Statistical induction uses a small set of statistics to make a generalization. For example, since 95% of the left-handers I've seen around the world use left-handed scissors, 95% of left-handers around the world use left-handed scissors. So next type is causal inference. In causal inference or causal inference, it uses inductive logic to draw a causal link between a premise and hypothesis. And as an example, in the summer, there are ducks on our pond. Therefore, summer will bring ducks to our pond. Next is analogical induction. In this type of inductive reasoning, You draw a hypothesis by analyzing two similar premises and their similarities, like Mary and Jim are left-handed and use left-handed scissors. Bill is also left-handed. So therefore, our conclusion is Bill also uses left-handed scissors. Next is deductive induction. This is where you might draw a conclusion about the future using information from the past. For example, in the past, ducks have always come to our pond. Therefore, the ducks will come to our pond this summer. So there are other types of reasoning too. First, there is abductive reasoning. This is when you take a set of observations and use a theory to explain them. This is very similar to how doctors work on patients by taking symptoms to make a diagnosis. Next is backward induction. Looks at the end result and considers that different decisions lead to that conclusion. It's used by artificial intelligence to win games. So our next topic is Polya's 4 steps in solving a problem. George Polya, he is the founder of these steps in solving a problem. He is a Hungarian mathematician who wrote how to solve it for high school students in 1957. Here is his 4-step method. First is understand the problem. Read the problem over carefully and ask yourself, do I know the meaning of all the words? What is being asked for? What is given in the problem? Is the given information sufficient or for the solution to be unique? Is there some inconsistent or superfluous information which is given? By way of checking your understanding, try restating the problem in a different way. 2 is design a plan for solving the problem. In essence, decide how you are going to work on the problem. This involves making some choices about what strategies to use. Some possible strategies are draw a picture or diagram, or making a picture which relates the information given to what is asked for can often lead to a solution. You can also make a list. This is a strategy which is especially useful in problems where you need to count the members of a set. You can also solve smaller versions of the problem and look for a pattern. Almost any problem can be made simpler in some way. By working out simpler versions, you can often see patterns which help solve the original problem. You can also decompose the problem. Many problems can be broken into a series of smaller problems. This strategy can turn a problem which on first glance seems intractable into something more doable. And use variables and write an equation. You can do this also. The method of algebra. This is very useful in a lot of problems. So next step is carry out the plan. Spend a reasonable amount of time trying to solve the problem using your plan. If you are not successful, go back to step 2. If you run out of strategies, go back to step 1. If you still don't have any luck, then talk the problem over with a classmate. You can do that. Lastly, look back. After you have a proposed solution, check your solution out. Is it reasonable? Is it unique? Can you see an easier way to solve the problem? Or can you generalize the problem? This is the 4 steps of Polya's in solving a problem. So, in this lesson, we tackle the definition of terms in the problem solving and reasoning, inductive and deductive reasoning, and Polya's 4 steps in problem solving. That's all. Thank you for watching.